Hello and welcome. In this video we want to learn about product rule for derivatives. Suppose we have two functions f and g and we want to find derivative of f times g. So f and g here are two functions. If we want to find derivative of f times g, for finding derivative, simply we have to find derivative of f, only derivative of f, and then multiply it by g, plus write the first function f and multiply it by derivative of the second function. And this is the product rule. So derivative of f times g equals f prime times g plus f times g prime. Let me show you by an example how we can use this rule for finding derivatives. Let's say we are given this function y equals x to the 2 plus 3x plus 5 times by 3x to the 5 minus 7. For finding derivative of this function, we can use product rule. Attention, here we have two functions. The first bracket is f and the second bracket is g. For finding the derivative of this function, based on the product rule, we have to find derivative of f. Attention to this rule. Derivative equals to f prime. F is the first function, g is the second function. So first we have to find only derivative of f, derivative of the first function. And the derivative of x to the 2 plus 3x plus 5 is 2x plus 3. Derivative of x to the 2 based on the power rule is 2x. Derivative of 3x is only 3. And derivative of 5 is 0, because we know that derivative of any constant is 0. Then don't forget to multiply f prime by g. What is g? G is the second function here. So we have to multiply this by 3x to the 5 minus 7 plus. Then we have to write f based on the formula plus f. F is this first function, first expression here. So plus x to the 2 plus 3x plus 5 times by g prime. G prime is the derivative of the second function, derivative of the second bracket here. Derivative of 3x to the 5 based on the power rule is 15x to the 4. And derivative of minus 7 is 0, because we know that derivative of any constant is 0. And we don't need to write minus 0 because it doesn't change anything. So derivative of this given function is equals to this. Let me show you another example of how we can use the product rule. Consider this function y equals to x to the 2 plus e to the x plus e times by 2 minus e to the x plus x. Again, attention, here we have two functions. This is our first function, this is the second function. As you can see, f is multiplied by g. So for finding derivative of this function, we need to use product rule. First, we have to find derivative of f, f prime, then multiply by second function g. So derivative of this function is y prime equals to f prime, derivative of the first function, derivative of the first bracket. What is derivative of x to the 2? Based on the power rule, it is 2x. Derivative of e to the x is e to the x. E to the x is the only function that its derivative is itself. So it's easy to remember. Derivative of e to the x is e to the x. And this is the only function that its derivative is itself. Plus, but what is the derivative of e? Attention, e is a constant. Probably you know that e is approximately 2.7. So it is just a number, it is a constant without any variable. What is the derivative of any constant? 0. So derivative of e is 0. Don't confuse this with this. These are completely different. E to the x is a function with variable x. This is exponential function. But e is a constant. And so derivative of e is 0. Then we have to multiply derivative of the first bracket by the second bracket. So we have to multiply this by 2 minus e to the x plus x. Don't make this mistake. Only you have to take derivative of the first bracket and multiply it by the second bracket, not the derivative of the second bracket. Just take derivative of the first bracket and multiply by the second bracket. So you only take derivative of the first bracket. Then plus, let's see what was the product rule. Then we have to write the first function, then plus f. F is the first bracket, just write the first bracket multiplied by derivative of the second bracket. So here in this example we write the first bracket, which is x to the 2 plus e to the x plus e, and now we have to take derivative of the second bracket. Derivative of 2 is 0, so we have 0 minus derivative of e to the x is e to the x, and derivative of x is 1. And so this is the derivative of that given function. Let me show you another example of product rule. Let's say we are given this function y equals to x plus sine x plus pi times by pi minus x to the 2 plus x. What is y prime, or what is dy over dx? Attention that dy over dx is just another notation that sometimes we use instead of y prime. This is one notation for derivative, and this is the other notation that sometimes we use for showing derivative of a function. So dy over dx means find derivative of this function. Again, attention, this is the first function f, and this is the second function g, and we want to find the derivative of f times g. Based on the product rule, first we have to find the derivative of the first function, derivative of the first bracket. What is the derivative of x plus sine x plus pi? Derivative of x is 1, derivative of sine x is cosine x, and derivative of pi is 0, because pi is a constant and derivative of any constant is 0. Multiply this by the second bracket. Don't take derivative of the second bracket, just write it, plus write the first function, write f, so plus x plus sine x plus pi, multiply this by derivative of g, derivative of the second function. Derivative of pi again is 0 minus derivative of x2 is 2x plus 1, because derivative of x is 1. If you want, you can multiply these brackets by each other. You can expand these, but it's not necessary, and you can leave your answer like this. So this expression is the derivative of this given function. Now look at this example. Let's say we are given this function y equals x times e to the x, and we are asked to find y prime, y double prime, y triple prime, the third derivative, fourth derivative. So we want to find first, second, third, and fourth derivative of this function. Attention that for finding y prime, we need to use product rule to find the derivative of this function, because here we have two functions, x and e to the x. F is x and g is e to the x. For finding the derivative of f times g, we have to use product rule. What was product rule again? Take derivative of the first function. Derivative of x is 1. So y prime equals to 1 times by the second function plus. Write the first function, it is x. Multiply this by derivative of the second function. What is the derivative of e to the x? E to the x. This is the only function that its derivative is itself. So it's easy to remember. So y prime equals to e to the x, this is just e to the x, plus x e to the x. Now we want to find the second derivative. We want to find y double prime. For finding y double prime, we have to use this, and we have to find the derivative of this. Derivative of e to the x. Derivative of e to the x is e to the x plus. For finding the derivative of this, again we have to use product rule, because again we have something times by another thing. We have two functions multiplied by each other. So for finding the derivative of this expression, we use product rule. And attention, this expression is exactly what we had here. And so the derivative of this would be this. If you want, you can copy the answer that you got here. But let's do the derivative of this again. Derivative of x, derivative of the first function is 1 times by e to the x, so e to the x plus. Write the first function x and multiply by derivative of the second function, and derivative of e to the x is e to the x. If we want, we can simplify our answer. E to the x plus e to the x is 2e to the x plus x e to the x. Now let's find the third derivative. And for finding that, we have to find the derivative of this expression. 2 here, attention, 2 is a coefficient for e to the x. And so basically you don't need to use any product rule for this. Just you have to write the 2 here. And you need to take the derivative of e to the x, which is e to the x. So again, why we don't need to use product rule for finding the derivative of 2e to the x? Because we use product rule when we have two functions with variables multiplied by each other. Then we need to use product rule for finding the derivative of such expressions. But here 2 is just a number. So copy the number and just take the derivative of the function, and the derivative of e to the x is e to the x. But when we want to find the derivative of x e to the x, when we want to find the derivative of this, we need to use product rule, because we have x times e to the x. And we know that the derivative of that is, again, e to the x plus x e to the x. If you add these two, this equals 3e to the x plus x e to the x. Probably so far you have noticed that there is a pattern in our answers. Can you guess that what would be the fourth derivative without taking derivative of this? Can you guess what should be the fourth derivative without taking derivative of this? The first derivative that we got here is 1e to the x plus xe to the x. The second derivative is 2e to the x, and again we have xe to the x. The third derivative is 3e to the x. So basically we expect that the fourth derivative to be 4e to the x and plus xe to the x. And actually, if you take derivative of this, you can see that the answer finally is this. And so the fourth derivative of this given function is 4e to the x plus xe to the x. And in general, if we continue this process, we can guess that the nth derivative of that function should be ne to the x plus xe to the x. Let me show you another example. If y equals x times f of x, and if we know that f of 1 equals 2 and f prime of 1 equals 5, find y prime at 1. We are given this function x times f of x, and we are asked to find derivative of y prime at 1. So we have to take derivative of this expression, and then we have to substitute 1 for x. So first we have to find derivative of this given function. Attention, for finding derivative of x times f of x, we have to use product rule. We have two functions multiplied by each other, x times f of x. So for finding y prime, we use product rule. Let me remind you the product rule. First, take derivative of the first function only. What is derivative of x? 1 times by the second function plus, write the first function x multiplied by derivative of the second function. But what is second function? F of x. What is derivative of f of x? F prime of x. When we have an unknown function like f, g, and we want to find derivative of them because we don't have any formula for them, when we want to take derivative of them, just we put a prime on top of them, which means that this is derivative of those functions. So what is derivative of f of x? F prime of x. What is derivative of, let's say, g of x? G prime of x. This is how we show their derivatives. So based on the product rule, derivative of the function x times f of x is this expression, f of x plus x f prime of x. Now that we have found the derivative of the given function, we have to substitute 1 for x because we want to find y prime of 1. So y prime at 1 equals to 1 times f of 1 plus 1 times f prime of 1. What is f of 1? It's given here, 2. What is f prime of 1? It's 5. 2 plus 5 equals 7. So y prime of 1 equals 7. Let me show you another example. If g of x equals to x2 f of x and f of 2 equals 1 and f prime of 2 equals negative 3, find equation of tangent line to function g at x equal 2. So we want to find equation of tangent line to the function g at 2. We know that whenever we want to find equation of tangent line, we have to find first a slope of the tangent line. And what is the slope of tangent line? Let me remind you. A slope of tangent line is always equal to derivative of the function, dy over dx. So for finding the slope of tangent line, because for finding equation of any line you need a slope, and for finding a slope of tangent line you have to find derivative of the function. So for finding a slope of tangent line, first we have to find derivative of the given function. So we start with finding g prime of x. But how we can find g prime of x? G is this given expression. G is x to the 2 times f of x. X to the 2 times f of x. And for finding derivative of g, we need product rule, because we have x to the 2 times f of x. What is derivative of x to the 2? 2x times f of x plus, write the first function x2, take derivative of the second function. Based on the product rule, derivative of that given function is this. G prime of x equals 2x f of x plus x2 f prime of x. We need equation of tangent line. We want to find equation of tangent line when x is 2. So let's substitute 2 for x. If we substitute 2, we have 2 times 2 f of 2 plus 2 to the power of 2 f prime of 2. Attention here, f of 2 is given 1 and f prime of 2 is given negative 3. If we use these values, then g prime of 2 equals to 2 times 2 times 1 plus 2 to the 2 times negative 3. 2 times 2 times 1 is 4. 2 to the 2 is 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. 4 minus 12 is negative 8. So a slope of tangent line is negative 8. But when we want to write equation of tangent line, let me remind you here the equation of a line in general. Y minus y0 equals m times x minus x0. So far we know what is m. M is negative 8. And we know that we want to find equation of tangent line at 2. So x0 is also 2. But what is the y value of the function? What is the y value corresponding to x equal 2? Let's back to our question. Here we have g of x equals x to the 2 f of x. When x is 2, if you plug in 2 for x in this function, you can find the y value of the function g when x is 2. So you have to plug in these two here and here to find the y value. G of 2 equals 2 to the 2 times f of 2. 2 to the 2 is 4. F of 2 here, f of 2 is given 1. So 4 times 1. So y value is 4. So the point that we want to find equation of tangent line at that point is 2, 4. And the slope of the tangent line at this particular point is -8. Now we have everything that we need for writing equation of tangent line. Equation of tangent line would be y minus 4 equals -8 times x minus 2. This is the equation of the tangent line to function g when x equals 2. If you want, you can multiply -8 in the bracket. Y minus 4 equals -8x plus 16. If you move the 4 to the other side, y equals -8x plus 20. We can also write the tangent line in this form. I hope you liked this video and see you in the next videos.